Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Donald Trump made history as the first former president to appear in court on felony charges yesterday. He appeared in a Manhattan court where authorities unsealed a 34-count felony indictment. They're all linked to a series of checks that he wrote to former fixer attorney Michael Cohen to reimburse him for his role in paying off adult film star Stormy Daniels, with whom Trump allegedly had an affair, though he denies it. Those payments made over 12 months were recorded in various internal company documents as being for a legal retainer that prosecutors say did not exist. Eileen Alfandary has more.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg said Trump conspired to illegally influence the 2016 presidential election through a series of hush money payments designed to stifle claims that could be harmful to his candidacy.
Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime.
The indictment contains new details about a scheme that prosecutors say began months into Trump's presidential candidacy in 2015, as his celebrity past collided with his presidential ambitions. It centers on payoffs to two women, including porn star Stormy Daniels, who said they had extramarital affairs with him years earlier, as well as to a Trump Tower doorman who claimed to have a story about a child he alleged the former president fathered out of wedlock. Bragg said Trump had violated New York election law. Bragg said the crimes were felonies in New York State no matter who you are. But one of Trump's attorneys, white-collar criminal defense lawyer and former federal prosecutor Todd Blanche, dismissed the charges.
The indictment itself is boilerplate. It doesn't allege any federal crime, any state crime that's been violated.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
True and accurate business records are important.
The next court date is 8 months away, December 4th, less than a year before the 2024 election. I'm Eileen Alfandary.
Trump slammed the judge and prosecutor in his New York hush money case before a crowd at Mar-a-Lago after his court hearing in New York, where Judge Marchand had warned Trump to refrain from rhetoric that could inflame or cause civil unrest. Trump told his supporters in Florida the judge hates him and targeted the judge's wife and daughter as well.
I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of it.
Trump called District Attorney Alvin Bragg a failed DA and claimed his innocence. He also called special counsel Jack Smith a lunatic. Smith is investigating the classified documents that Trump withheld and took to him to Mar-a-Lago and the January 6th insurrection. He also called Atlanta District Attorney Fani Willis investigating Trump's attempt to overturn the Georgia election results a racist. An election for progressives in Chicago, former teacher and union organizer Brandon Johnson won his bid for mayor. Johnson, a Cook County commissioner who was endorsed by the Chicago Teachers Union, defeated former Chicago school CEO Paul Vallis, who was endorsed by the police union. Johnson will succeed Lori Lightfoot, the first black woman and openly gay person to be the city's mayor. A victory for Democrats on abortion rights in Wisconsin as voters elected a Democrat to the state's Supreme Court, ending its conservative control for the first time in 15 years. Milwaukee County Judge Janet Protasowski also spoke in defense of voting rights and won in a landslide with 55% of votes, more than 100,000 votes than rival Republican Dan Kelly, who consulted for Republicans that sought to challenge the election results in the state in favor of Trump in 2020 and expressed pro-life views.
Today's results mean two very important and special things. Yes. First, it means that Wisconsin voters have made their voices heard. Yes. They've chosen to reject partisan extremism in this state. And second, it means our democracy will always prevail.
The court is expected to decide a pending lawsuit challenging the state's 1849 law banning abortion that went into effect after the nation's Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last year. It was the most expensive judicial race in U.S. history, but voters in the state narrowly elected a Republican to the Senate, giving it a veto-proof Republican majority that could vote to impeach Protasowski. Israeli forces have bombed Gaza, targeting Hamas military sites in the latest escalation of violence between Israel's government and Palestinians. Tensions after Israeli police stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem's Old City, firing stun grenades and beating Palestinian youth who hurled stones and firecrackers during sensitive holiday seasons. Palestinian militants in Gaza responded with rocket fire on southern Israel, prompting repeated Israeli airstrikes. The violence came as Muslims mark the holy month of Ramadan, and Jews prepare to celebrate Passover at their third holiest site, which they call the Temple Mount. Such confrontations at the contested holy compound sparked deadly cross-border wars between Israel and Gaza's Hamas militants last year. Earlier this week, Israeli forces killed a Palestinian man outside the Al-Aqsa Mosque who tried to break up what witnesses called the soldiers' harassment of a woman. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in Poland to visit the president and prime minister, key allies since Russia's full-scale invasion last year. The visit comes just days after Poland became the first country to send Ukraine MiG-29 fighter jets that Zelensky has lobbied Western allies for. More than 10 million Ukrainians have fled into Poland. Some 1.5 million have applied to remain since the war. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.